Welcome to DIY for Homeowners.
We're mother-daughter projects.
I'm Steph.
I'm Vicki. We'd like to thank the Home Depot for sponsoring this post and for providing today's tool,
which is a chainsaw.
Let's go.
No, not like that. It's not a gas-powered chainsaw. It's a battery-powered chainsaw. All you need is this battery, pull the trigger, and you're ready to go.
No, you got to read that manual first.
Well, yes.
Cover to cover.
Oh, yes, that is super important. This is the manual. We did read this cover to cover, and I gotta say, our favorite line, or both of our favorite lines from this manual is, if the tree starts to fall in the wrong direction, leave the saw and save yourself.
That line really makes us laugh. I feel like it's tongue-in-cheek, but really, you really need to read that cover to cover and follow all of the safety precautions when operating this chainsaw.
And once you follow the safety precautions, you're probably gonna find out, like I did, it's a lot of fun to use.
So we're gonna show you what we did at Steph's house. She had a tree that fell during the hurricane last fall. There was still a trunk left and all of the debris, so we're gonna cut down that tree and we're gonna clean up all the limbs. Let's go.
Although there's no gas needed for this chainsaw, it does need a high-quality barred and chain oil to lubricate the chain. We got it filled up, replaced the cap, made sure my safety gear was in place, and then we ran the saw for 30 seconds to make sure the bar and chain oil lubricated the chain. The first step was to cut up the fallen top of the tree. I'm starting with the top branches, making sure not to cut the bottom branches that are supporting the weight of the trunk. With some of the branches I started by underbucking and then continued with overbucking to help ensure the blade didn't get pinched when the limbs fell. Underbucking is basically cutting from the bottom, and overbucking is just the opposite, cutting from the top. But what fun words we found in the manual! I continued cutting small sections at a time, making sure to remain in the proper posture and cut everything up in a manageable size for removal. And you'll notice I'm wearing a full face mask, which is just a precaution in case any kickback comes towards my face. As I mentioned, this was the top of a tree that fell down, and this is the rest of the tree that was left in the ground. It's about 2 of me, so it's about 10 feet tall. Now what I'm attempting to do here is a notched undercut, which is a notch cut in the tree that directs a tree's fall. The next step is to make a felling back cut, which is a final cut in a tree cutting operation, made on the opposite side of the tree from the notched undercut. And I have to point out that the saw fell with the tree. I had taken out the battery at that point and the saw is no worse for wear. Here you can see my back cut was way too tall and it definitely was a first attempt, but I'll get better over time. The next step is to cut up the trunk, which is called bucking. Here I'm overbucking, making sure not to cut all the way through as I don't want the saw to come in contact with the ground. I rolled the log over to finish the cut. I followed this process for the remainder of the trunk. What we learned. So right here I have 2 different Milwaukee batteries, and I actually used the smaller capacity battery when I made these cuts and I had to switch it halfway through. But if you were to use the larger capacity battery, you probably wouldn't have to, so that's what I'll do next time.
Now we were probably overly cautious because this was our first time using this chainsaw, but it's really a good idea to be cautious. And one of the things that we read was to plan your escape in case the tree falls in a direction you weren't expecting. So each of us, when we were cutting down that trunk, really positioned us in a way where if it fell, we could get out quickly.
The manual has some great information on how to cut a limb up so you don't get your blade stuck, but if the blade does get stuck, make sure you take the battery out right away before you do any kind of maneuvering to remove the blade so that you're nice and safe.
One of the things we realized with this chainsaw was now we have a way to cut up slices for all the logs that we have that are drying, so we're really excited to be making some wood slices.
Yeah, so if you like this project and you want to see more from us, be sure to visit us at motherdaughterprojects.com and sign up for our newsletter where you get an email each week with all our new projects. And I gotta say, our favorite line from this manual has to be, let me find it here, that would be, shoot, oh man. That was so good too.